Once, there was a boy born into such extreme poverty that his first breath was taken not in a warm, comfortable home, but on the dirt floor of a horse stable. The world that surrounded him was far removed from comfort or abundance. His family struggled every single day just to survive, and each sunrise brought another battle against hunger, hardship, and uncertainty. Life was so unforgiving that out of 15 brothers and sisters, only 7 survived to reach adulthood. The others became victims of poverty, illness, and the harsh realities of the time. A childhood filled with such pain could have easily turned someone bitter toward life. But from an early age, he began to believe that every experience life gives us carries a deeper purpose. Throughout his childhood, people believed he developed more slowly than other children. They said he learned slowly, spoke very little, and could never keep up with those around him. He was often underestimated, misunderstood, and seen as someone who simply wasn't capable enough. Yet no one realized that beneath that quiet exterior, a remarkable wisdom was quietly taking root. His family knew very little peace. Because of their religious beliefs and political views, they lived under constant pressure and intimidation from the government. Every morning they woke up uncertain of what the next day might bring, never knowing whether safety or danger awaited them. Years passed. Then, at only 22 years old, he was forced to make the most difficult decision of his life. Trusted sources warned him that his life was in imminent danger. If he remained in his homeland, not only would his own life be at risk, but so would the lives of those around him. That night, he left behind far more than just a house. He left behind his childhood, his memories, his homeland, his culture, and perhaps the people he loved most, people he might never see again. His escape happened so suddenly that he didn't even have time to grab his glasses. Despite his poor eyesight, he traveled thousands of miles, nearly blind, crossing rugged mountains, dangerous passes, and unfamiliar terrain before finally reaching safety in another country. What could be more heartbreaking than that? To lose your homeland while still so young, to be torn away from the land where you were born, to step into a future filled with nothing but uncertainty. Many people would have surrendered to anger after such an experience. They would have allowed resentment to consume them and blamed the world for their suffering. But he chose a very different path. He never answered hatred with hatred. He never promoted violence. He never sought revenge. Instead, he transformed every ounce of his pain into a message of hope for humanity. He believed something deeply profound. Hatred never ends through hatred. Only love can bring hatred to an end. This wasn't merely a quote he repeated. It became the guiding principle of his entire life. His years in exile were not years lost. On the contrary, they became the greatest education he would ever receive. He traveled across different countries. He experienced countless cultures. He met people from different religions, languages, and walks of life. Every encounter broadened his perspective. Every journey reminded him that humanity has far more in common than what divides it. Gradually, people all over the world began to realize that he was far more than a religious leader. He became a symbol of hope. He taught people not to nourish anger, but compassion. He reminded them that true happiness is not found in what we possess, but in the peace we cultivate within ourselves. As technology advanced, his message reached millions. Through the internet and social media, even people living in the most remote corners of the world could hear his words. His quotes about peace were shared hundreds of millions of times. His books were translated into dozens of languages. His extraordinary life became the subject of documentaries and feature films. Eventually, he was awarded one of the world's greatest honors, the Nobel Peace Prize. Yet what made him truly remarkable was this. While others spoke endlessly about his achievements, he rarely spoke about them himself. Instead, he always spoke about struggle. One day, someone asked him, "It must have been incredibly painful to leave your homeland at such a young age. How did you endure it?" Most people would have answered such a question with sadness. But the Dalai Lama surprised everyone once again. He replied, "Leaving my country gave me the opportunity to see the world. I met people from many different cultures. I learned to feel at home wherever I went. Had I never gone through those hardships, I would never have gained the experience, wisdom, and understanding that shaped me into the leader I am today." That is where true wisdom begins. Wise people do not focus on the pain they have endured. They focus on what that pain has taught them. Life doesn't always give us what we want. Sometimes, it even takes away what we treasure most. But more often than not, the events we mistake for devastating losses are quietly preparing us for a future greater than we could ever imagine. Perhaps that is true for you today. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe someone you deeply loved is no longer part of your life. Maybe you've experienced a painful failure. Or perhaps you're carrying heavy worries about your future. But remember this. The struggles weighing you down today may be shaping the character you'll rely on tomorrow. Because strong people are not created during comfortable seasons. They are forged in difficult ones. Patience is not learned when everything goes according to plan. It is learned when everything seems to fall apart. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to move forward despite fear. Hope does not reveal its true power in the daylight. It shines brightest in the darkest nights. The life of the Dalai Lama reminds us of a timeless truth. Success is often waiting just beyond the struggle. Every obstacle we face is an invisible teacher, shaping us into the person we are meant to become. One day, when we look back, we may even find ourselves grateful for the hardships that once made us cry and nearly lose hope. Because without those struggles, we would never have become the people we are today. So the next time life tests you, don't give up too soon. Never forget that your pain is shaping not only your present, but also your future. The struggle you face today is building the strength you will need tomorrow. And perhaps one day, when you look back on your journey, you'll realize that your greatest blessings were hidden inside your hardest seasons.